The unfortunate side effect of creatine no one talks about. Creatine is everywhere: gyms, supplement shelves, doctor conversations, YouTube videos. It's cheap, widely used, and backed by decades of solid research. Yet there's one unfortunate side effect of creatine almost nobody talks about. Not because it's dangerous, and not because it harms your body, but because it sneaks up on people and quietly ruins results. It doesn't show up on blood tests or warning labels. Most people assume creatine fails them, when, in reality, they misunderstand how it works and what it's meant to support. That misunderstanding leads to impatience, overconfidence, poor habits, or quitting too early, all of which cancel out the benefits. Creatine itself is simple. The problems come from how people use it, what they expect from it, and how they react to the changes it creates. Once you understand this hidden side effect, creatine stops being confusing and starts working the way it's supposed to. In this video, we're breaking down the unfortunate side effect of creatine no one talks about. But before we begin, drop your name and the city you're watching from in the comments below. Alright, let's get started. Number 1. The side effect isn't physical, it's psychological. This one messes with your head, not your body, and it's the biggest reason creatine fails for so many people. The most common side effect of creatine isn't bloating, water weight, or stomach issues. It's misinterpretation. People misunderstand what creatine is doing and then make decisions that cancel out the benefits. They expect an instant energy rush, like caffeine. When that doesn't happen, they assume it's not working and quit too early. Or, the scale goes up a little, and they panic, thinking they're gaining fat. In reality, it's just water moving into muscle cells, exactly what creatine is supposed to do. Some feel stronger quickly and assume their body is ready for more volume or heavier weights, so they push too hard and end up sore or injured. Others experience mild stomach discomfort and blame the supplement instead of adjusting the dose. In every case, the problem isn't creatine, it's how the response is interpreted. Creatine works quietly and gradually. It builds up over weeks, supports energy availability, and improves recovery behind the scenes. When people don't understand that process, they react emotionally instead of logically. The real side effect of creatine is confusion. Once you understand what's happening and what to expect, most of the problems disappear and the benefits finally show up. Number 2. The scale goes up and panic sets in. This is where most people lose the plot, and it happens fast. Creatine pulls water into your muscle cells. That's literally how it improves strength, performance, and recovery. Hydrated muscle cells work better. That's the goal. But then, the scale goes up a pound or two, and logic disappears. People immediately assume fat gain, panic kicks in, calories get slashed, extra cardio gets added, or worse, creatine gets blamed and thrown out entirely. All of these reactions sabotage progress. That small increase on the scale isn't body fat. Fat gain requires a sustained calorie surplus over time. Creatine-related weight gain happens quickly because it's water being stored inside muscle tissue. It's functional weight, not fluff. When people react emotionally to the scale, they create real problems. Cutting calories reduces recovery. Adding too much cardio increases fatigue. Quitting creatine removes the very support that was helping in the first place. The supplement didn't fail, the reaction to it did. The scale is a blunt tool. It can't tell you where weight comes from or how your body is functioning. Strength, energy, movement quality, and recovery are better indicators of progress. Understanding this one mechanism prevents most creatine issues. Once you stop letting the scale control your decisions, creatine finally gets a chance to do its job. Number 3. People mistake water weight for failure. The mirror tells a very different story than the scale, and this is where perspective matters. That extra weight you see on the scale isn't fat sitting under your skin or creeping around your waist. It's water stored inside your muscle cells, exactly where creatine is designed to work. That water makes muscles fuller, stronger, and better able to perform. Visually, many people notice muscles looking slightly firmer or more solid, even if body fat hasn't changed at all. Clothes may fit the same, or sometimes even better, but the scale doesn't reflect that difference. It simply shows a higher number, without explaining why. The unfortunate side effect isn't the water weight itself. It's letting that number convince you something is wrong. People start doubting the process, questioning their plan, or assuming they're moving backward. In reality, the supplement is doing exactly what it's supposed to do. This is especially common after 50, when weight changes feel more threatening and harder to reverse. But reacting to the scale, instead of observing real-world signs, strength, energy, recovery, and how you look and feel, leads to bad decisions. When you understand what creatine-related weight actually represents, the fear disappears. The scale stops being a source of stress and becomes just one data point, not the verdict on your progress. Number 4. Expectations get completely unrealistic. Creatine doesn't work like caffeine, and that's exactly what disappoints people. There's no sudden rush, no immediate jolt of energy, and no dramatic change a few days after starting. Because of that, many people assume it isn't doing anything at all. Most expect instant feedback, a stronger pump, more energy, some obvious signal that the supplement has kicked in. But creatine works differently. It slowly saturates your muscle cells over 1 to 3 weeks. During that time, it's quietly increasing energy availability and supporting recovery behind the scenes. When nothing dramatic happens right away, impatience takes over. People say, "I don't feel anything," and quit. Ironically, they often stop right before the benefits would have started to show up. Strength improvements, better endurance for daily tasks, and faster recovery are gradual changes, not fireworks. This misunderstanding creates the false belief that creatine is ineffective, when in reality, it just requires consistency. The effects reveal themselves through better reps, less fatigue, and smoother movement, not a sudden surge. Creatine rewards patience. When you understand that it works in the background, expectations shift. Instead of chasing a feeling, you start noticing performance and consistency improving over time. That's when creatine finally delivers on its reputation. Number 5. Overconfidence leads to overdoing it. Feeling stronger doesn't mean your body is ready for more, and this is where creatine quietly sets a trap for impatient people. Creatine can make workouts feel easier by improving energy availability and reducing fatigue. Reps feel smoother. Weight feels lighter. Effort feels lower. And that's a good thing when it's handled correctly. The problem is that muscles adapt faster than joints, tendons, and connective tissue. Strength can increase in weeks, but structural tissues take much longer to catch up. When people feel strong, they often assume their whole body is ready for heavier loads, more volume, or more frequent training. That's where issues start. Extra sets get added, warm-ups get skipped, and recovery gets rushed. Small aches are ignored because performance still feels good. The side effect isn't creatine causing injury, it's overconfidence created by early strength gains. Creatine magnifies whatever decisions you make. Used patiently, it supports progress and consistency. This is especially important after 40 or 50, when connective tissue naturally adapts more slowly. The solution isn't avoiding creatine. It's respecting the gap between feeling strong and being structurally ready. Progress slowly. Warm up properly. Listen to early signals. When strength and structure are allowed to align, creatine becomes a powerful ally instead of a hidden risk. Number 6. Hydration gets ignored. This one gets blamed on creatine unfairly, and it happens more often than people realize. Creatine changes how your body handles water by pulling more of it into muscle cells. That's a good thing for strength and performance, but only if you replace that water. If fluid intake stays the same, dehydration can sneak up on you. Headaches, muscle cramps, fatigue, or a general off feeling may appear. When that happens, creatine becomes the easy target. People assume the supplement is causing problems, when in reality, their hydration just hasn't kept up with the change. Creatine itself isn't dehydrating you. It doesn't steal water from your body. It simply shifts where water is stored. When total intake is too low, circulation, muscle function, and recovery all suffer, and those symptoms get mislabeled as side effects. The fix is simple but often ignored. Drink more water consistently throughout the day. Not just during workouts, but from morning to night. Once hydration improves, those uncomfortable symptoms usually fade quickly. This misunderstanding causes many people to quit a supplement that's actually helping them. When hydration is handled properly, creatine becomes smoother, more effective, and easier to tolerate. Most of the time, the problem isn't what you're taking, it's what you're not drinking. Number 7. Creatine becomes the scapegoat. When progress stalls, creatine is often the first thing people blame, even when it's the least likely cause. Strength stops increasing, energy feels off, and motivation dips. Instead of looking at the basics, the supplement becomes the scapegoat. Bad sleep quietly erodes recovery. Inconsistent training breaks momentum. Poor nutrition limits adaptation, and chronic stress drains energy and focus. Any one of these can stall progress on its own. Stack a few together and no supplement in the world will fix it. Creatine doesn't override those fundamentals. It amplifies what you're already doing. When habits are solid, creatine supports strength, recovery, and consistency. When habits are messy, creatine has very little to work with, and then it gets blamed for not working. This misunderstanding is the unfortunate side effect. People expect creatine to replace discipline, structure, or recovery, and when it doesn't, frustration sets in. The supplement gets dropped, while the real issues remain untouched. The truth is simple. Creatine is a support tool, not a solution. It works best when sleep is decent, training is regular, nutrition is adequate, and stress is managed. Fix the basics, and creatine shines. Ignore them, and no supplement will save progress. Number 8. The real side effect, quitting too soon. This is the most common outcome, and it's surprisingly avoidable. Because of scale changes, slow results, or simple confusion, people stop using creatine before it ever has a chance to shine. Not because creatine failed, but because expectations were wrong from the start. They expect instant energy and dramatic changes. When that doesn't happen, doubt creeps in. They expect the scale to stay the same, and when it goes up slightly, panic takes over. They expect clear, obvious signals that something is working, and when creatine works quietly in the background, it gets dismissed. What's really happening is a mismatch between how creatine works and what people expect it to feel like. Creatine isn't a stimulant. It doesn't deliver overnight transformations. It builds gradually, supporting energy availability, hydration, and recovery over weeks. The benefits show up as better consistency, smoother workouts, and easier daily movement, not fireworks. Because people don't understand that process, they make emotional decisions. They quit early, change too many variables, or assume something went wrong. Then they move on to the next supplement, repeating the same cycle. Creatine doesn't need hype, it needs patience and understanding. When expectations align with reality, most of the so-called side effects disappear. The people who benefit the most from creatine aren't the ones chasing fast results. They're the ones who stay consistent long enough to let it work. So what's the unfortunate side effect of creatine nobody talks about? It's not kidney damage. It's not fat gain. It's how people react to perfectly normal changes and talk themselves out of progress. Used correctly, creatine is one of the safest, most researched, and most effective supplements available. Used emotionally or impatiently, it becomes frustrating, not because it's bad, but because it's misunderstood. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever stopped taking creatine because of the scale or slow results? Or did any of these points surprise you? If you want a follow-up video on how to take creatine correctly, dosage, or myths you should ignore, hit like, subscribe, and tell me what you want next. I'll see you in the next video.